Thank you. You say good morning, everybody. Yeah, so the crowd is on the way. Don't worry about that part. Most important part is I have my president here, so everything else is secondary. I'd like to introduce you to Dr. Gerald Briggs. He's going to welcome us here.
Well, good morning. Even though it may be raining outside, I always start by saying it's a beautiful day to be at Mississippi Valley State University, folks. It's a beautiful day, and I just want to take an opportunity to welcome you all here to our campus. For those who've been here before, welcome back. And for those who's this their first time being on campus, welcome to the place we call and we know is the higher ed oasis here in the Mississippi Delta. And we're so happy to see you all this morning as we celebrate the life and legacy of the great B.B. King. We know that he was a very important person to the world, but he was also a very important person to us right here at Mississippi Valley State University. It is indeed a pleasure that we have an opportunity to celebrate his life and legacy. And I'd like to thank Dr. Sanders and everybody who had a play in putting this event together. Again, it's going to be a really, really beautiful day. One thing that you all will hear at the university is we're very proud of who we are and who we represent. We're very proud of our history and proud of that vision that we have here at the university. And if you haven't heard that vision is one goal, one team, one valley, in motion. In motion, folks. That one goal speaks about student success. Everything that we do here at the university is geared towards our students being successful. That's successful in the classroom and outside the classroom. Understand the importance of events like today. Again, student success. That one team is university and communities working together. Like everyone here in the room right now, part of that broader community to help the university as we move forward. And that one valley is school pride second to none. We've always said if you meet a Valley graduate, do I have any Valley graduates here in the audience? Any Valley graduates? Okay. I've always said we know we bleed green and white. Our alums are very proud of this university, as we all are, because we're doing some really, really good things. And now that in motion really means we're moving, folks. But we're moving strategically and we're moving in the right direction to assure that our university is not only sustainable, that we thrive, and we really have a lot of pride in doing that. So again, on behalf of the Mississippi Valley State University community, I welcome you all here today. I know you're going to have an outstanding day and program, and you are always, always welcome to come back. Thank you all again.
Thank you, Dr. Briggs. Thank you. But for this evening, Dr. Briggs, we omitted something. I want you to have it, but I want you to make sure you carry this everywhere you go.
I will.
Right.
Everywhere.
Everywhere. That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's beautiful. Thank you all.
Well, thank you. I'm going to put mine over here. I didn't even know I was getting one of these. Well, ladies and gentlemen, before I introduce, and I'm going to do this maybe several times throughout the day, and I don't know where did Margaret go? She's always doing something. Well, Dawn, why don't you stand? And I'm trying to show y'all the real people behind this thing, and all I did was ask them to do this, and it just turned into whatever it's going to do. So Dawn Whitfield, let's give her a hand. And I'll introduce y'all to Margaret later on. And right now I want to introduce you to Dr. James Johnson, a dear friend of mine that I met years ago in Pittsburgh, and we started collaborating, talking about nonsense that turned into something sensible in a way. But anyway, let's hear from Dr. James Johnson. He's going to be over our program this morning.
All right, is everybody ready for some knowledge? Y'all ready? Well, y'all look good. I'm looking out over here. Boy, we're going to have a great time today. This is important work, you all. Mississippi Valley is taking a lead in the kinds of subject matters that I am personally interested in, and this is why I'm involved. And I'll be taking my cues from Dr. Sundays, and then when he's not around, then Ms. Dunn, I'm gonna take my cues from you as to what we're supposed to do. Now, I have a friend that he comes in the door every now and then. He is called Mr. Watchman, which comes from the word watch. I have one on my hand, and only I can see him. So when he walks through the door, he's gonna signal me, okay, it's time to move on to something else. So I'm looking at this program here, and it says that at 9:15 there must be a better world somewhere. Let's see, 9:05 B.B. King Museum presents Club Ebony documentary. Okay, so is that documentary, you waiting on me? Okay, let's give our undivided attention to the screen so we can get this kicked off with the right kind of spirit. And you supposed to say something? All right, what's your name? Malika. Give Malika a hand, y'all.
Can I have some lights, please? Good morning. I am Malika Polk-Lee. I'm the Executive Director at the B.B. King Museum. And I wanted to share a little history about this documentary this morning that we are presenting to you all. Club Ebony was one of the South's most important African-American nightclubs. It was built just after World War II by Indianola entrepreneur Johnny Jones. Under Mr. Jones' successful ownership, the club showcased Ray Charles, Count Basie, B.B. King, Bobby Bland, Jack Wilson, Ike Turner, Jerry Butler, Bobby Rush, and many other legends. After he died in May 1950, Jones' widow and son operated the club under the ownership of James B. Jimmy Lee, a white bootlegger who had loaned the money to Jones to build the club. Ruby Edwards, who also ran the popular Ruby's Night spot in Leland, purchased Club Ebony in 1958. By then, B.B. King had moved to Memphis and become a big name in the music industry. On return to his hometown, he played at Club Ebony in 1955. He met Ruby's daughter, Sue Carol Hall, and they were married in 1958. Club Ebony was purchased in 1975 by Willie and Mary Shepherd. After B.B. King returning for an annual homecoming festival in his honor in 1980, it became a tradition for him to climax the festival with a night performance at Club Ebony. When Shepherd retired in 2008, King stepped up to buy Club Ebony, preserving not only the major cultural landmark, but also the special place where for 50 years earlier, he wrote his autobiography, I Found Love Back in the Delta. After a few years later, Mr. King gifted the club to the B.B. King Museum, and we are proud to preserve the history.
Watchman, Watchman, what of the day? It's 9:25. There must be a better world somewhere. Jesse Robinson. Jesse Robinson in the house? Jesse? Is Jesse here?
Yeah. He's sneaking up behind you.
Where?
Behind you on the stage. He's coming.
Oh. Hello, Jesse. All right, let's give Jesse a hand, you all. There must be a better world somewhere. Beautiful topic. All right, Jesse, take it away. Oh, okay, all right, okay. I'm going to the stage. Y'all gotta bear with me.
Dr. J forgot I asked him to sit in on this too. So if you can't read the music, let somebody else do it. I guess. No, he'll be able to take care of it. While they're doing it, I want to acknowledge in the house, you saw in the video, Miss Mary Shepherd. No, don't you? Oh, she gonna stand up? Yeah, just as pretty as she was back in the day. Mary has a beautiful picture where she's standing by a mule. And I often want to ask her why she's standing over there by that mule, but don't worry, don't answer it now. She's got signed posters that are very unique, and she's selling them outside with BB's signature, her signature. Who else is on there? Bobby Rush and other. She's been in touch with so many of the greats, y'all, until they just come over and shake her hand. Whenever you get the opportunity, you will be in royalty here with the Queen. She's known as the Queen of Juk. That's been identified by the state. The governor named her that, so I guess she's still that honor. You ready, Jesse? Jesse, you getting older by the day, Jesse. I like that jacket, though. I know why you got the jacket. He got that jacket because he was playing with Tito Jackson, you know. And so Tito came out in a pair of jeans and a toe-up T-shirt. And Jesse was stuck with a jacket on. He thought that was Michael you was looking for. Also, let my man, where's Joe Johnson? What happened to Joe? Oh, Joe, anytime you see the band playing, then you're supposed to be on drums, okay? You think I'm paying you to sit out there? I'm not going to play this morning. My dear friend Theodore Arthur Jr., I'm going to let him do a little work. And I got another beautiful saxophonist in the house. Where's Kenny Blake?
1, 2.
Now, he's sitting by the greatest saxophone player among us. That's Mr. Walter Riley King, BB's beautiful nephew here. Walt also has a beautiful picture over here. It's taken by Ron Minks, too. So, the students who are coming in, if you will, cancel classes for the day. Call your friends, tell them, come on out. She says, we'll do. Yeah. Oh, yeah, don't worry about it. I know that's... But I hope everybody who's intending to show up get a chance to come out. Beautiful people in my presence, and I'm not going to start naming people because there's so many beautiful people. But I do think everybody should know who Sam Joyner is. Sam, you stand up. He didn't know I was going to do this. The reason I'm doing this with Sam because he owed me a favor and then he paid it and I owe him. So I don't know how we're going to pay this debt off. We keep going back and forth. But he's been a taxi cab driver as well as one of the beautiful musicians. You're down in Doolin Pianos, right? Down in New Orleans. So if you go down to New Orleans, down on the French Quarter, on Bourbon Street, that's right. You catch my friend down there. He lets me play whenever I run into him. He always keeps me happy, you know. But a beautiful thing. All right, Jesse, count it off. Jesse, that man can read music. Mr. Jesse Robinson, everybody. The reason we're doing this tribute, and I wanted Jesse to be able to hear this, on your program, we lost some beautiful people. And I have a beautiful picture over here that I've been admiring that Professor Minks took as well by Denise LaSalle, but we lost Denise. We lost Eddie Clearwater, who was here last year with us. We just buried Monday, unfortunately he was supposed to be here with us, Eddie Shank Willis. And if you don't know anything about Eddie, and his wife was supposed to be here this morning as well, but Eddie was 1960 and beyond. He was a guitar player with every hit record that came out of Motown. And so he was born in Gore Springs, Mississippi. And so we were looking at that on him. We also have a beautiful friend that was a part of B.B. King Day Symposium. But we called, I guess if everybody else looked at him, and we called him Razor Blade. But his name was Josh Stewart. So we're just doing a thing in memory of these people. And if you know them, this song is going to be something that you'd recognize. This is from the late, great B.B. King's repertoire. Mr. Jesse Robinson.
somewhere. Flying high, some joker clips my way. 'Cause he get his kicks out of doing those kind of things. I'm hanging in midair, or just in space. Yes, I know. Oh, yes, I know. There must be a better world somewhere. Every woman I want only wants herself. Everybody I love seems to love somebody else. Every woman got a license to break my poor little heart. Every love affair is over before I get a chance to start. If it's not here, just maybe in the hereafter, instead of these tears, I'll learn all about laughter. So meanwhile, I'm stuck out here. Lord, you know it ain't fair, but I know. Yes, I know. There must be a better world somewhere. Every woman I want only wants herself. Everybody I love seems to love somebody else. Every woman, she's got a license to break my poor little heart. Every love affair is over before I get a chance to stop. If it ain't here, maybe in the hereafter, instead of these tears, I will learn all about the laughter. But meanwhile, I'm stuck out here, and you know it ain't fair. Yes, I know. Ooh, yes, I know. Must be a better world somewhere.
This is Jesse Robinson, everybody. Beautiful, beautiful. Well, I'm gonna let Dr. J introduce our next guest. Robert, we might need your help. Where's Robert go? We need your help. Here.
Okay, I believe I met this young lady last night. History speaks from a native offspring. Sarah? Whoa, Sarah. Oh no, I didn't meet you last night. How you doing? Okay, we're gonna bring you up here now, and why don't I just turn it over to you and you just tell us what you're about to do. Watchman, what of the day? It is 9:38. A little behind time, but we're gonna move on. Are you ready, Sarah? Let's give Sarah another hand, y'all. I'm looking for students in the back. I want a couple of you guys, these two students, to come up here at halftime and tell me what you've learned so far.
Okay, I don't know how I'm going to follow that up, that wonderful performance, but I'm going to try, and we're going to start with a little bit of an experiment because I would like to run the slide. Yes, this will work. Okay, so a little bit about me. I am the new program manager for the Mississippi Delta National Heritage Area. We're headquartered in Cleveland at Delta State, and our mission is, and we're charged by Congress, to research and promote the heritage of the Mississippi Delta with an eye towards its preservation and some sustainable economic development. And I met Dr. Sanders earlier this summer because he came to a workshop for our grantees, and he explained that we should all save the date for today and what the theme of today was going to be. And I told him how happy I was personally as well as professionally to hear what the theme was, because my family has some Cherokee members in it, as many people do. And in the Delta, because Delta was settled so late, there aren't so many Native Americans here, and there aren't so many traditions here. So professionally, I wanted a way in to that, to those populations and those traditions. And personally, I've had a bit of a struggle with my Native American heritage. And I told him a little bit about that, and he said, "Oh, you should come talk." So I've never done one of these before, so bear with me. And this is a very personal story. I see a connection with the blues because the blues is very personal, so here we go. So I'm Sarah, that's me on the left, and that's my uncle with me. I'm standing up here, I'm looking like a white woman, right? I'm wearing Indian earrings, and I'm wearing a funny looking pin, and I'm speaking at a blues conference about American Indians. So the word on this pin, let's start there. It says Tsalagi. That's the word for Cherokee, and it's written in Cherokee. Those are Cherokee letters that you see up there. The Cherokee syllabary, so that's the word for an alphabet that is not written with the letters that we use every day, enabled the Cherokee to publish newspapers, establish the first co-ed schools in the nation, and translate the Bible, all in an effort to be accepted by the European settlers who were establishing states at that time. The Cherokee hoped if they made themselves acceptable to the new powers, that they could be their own state in the new country too. Cherokees, like many native tribes, are all about identity. I learned this in a child's way as a child. When my mother told me that our family was very special, she told me that we were direct descendants of an Indian chief who had fought the US government to leave our people be, but had been double-crossed. And then all our people were turned out of their homes in Georgia, where I lived, and forced to walk across the country to a new home in Oklahoma, which seemed impossibly far away in a time of car rides with no air conditioning in the summer. She told me that so many people died on that journey, including my great-great-great-great-grandmother, that the journey was called the Trail of Tears. The chief was Chief John Ross, and he looked like a white man. He dressed like a white man. He was a founder of Chattanooga, an elected chief of the Cherokee who served them for 38 years, despite only an 8th indigenous blood. And he had light skin too. In a child's way, I tried to connect to my heritage. I dressed as a Cherokee for Thanksgiving dress-up day in 4th grade, which didn't go over at all. Because I'd read some better books on what Southeastern Indians wore, and shawls with a headband and, general late, 19th century pioneer clothing just didn't look Indian enough to all my, little friends. My family doesn't have just the Ross connection. We have a number of other members with enough dark genetics such that my grandfather and my mother's little brother were obviously darker than the rest of us. Our family got off the reservation via the U.S. Army and the World Wars. My great-grandmother, Ann Ross, married an Army career officer and didn't return to Tahlequah to live until she was aged and blind. Her sons also made military careers, and my mother grew up as an Army brat in Germany among the British. When it came time to come back to the States, it happened to be the 1960s. My dark-skinned grandfather, and that's him on the left, knew well from news reports what was happening in the South. Although he could have chosen assignment nearer his family, he took his college-bound daughter and his young dark son to the safer-seeming Ohio, where they still ran into the N-word scrawled on their driveway and on school lockers. As I grew and race relations were introduced in school via Mark Twain and Harper Lee, I realized that my family, too, was biracial. And living in two worlds has cultural challenges that exceed simple color judgments. So this is a family group picture, and I'm down in the middle on the front. And you can see my uncle is behind me and my cousin. When I was 12, my family made that pilgrimage to Tahlequah for the occasion of a major festival of the Cherokee Nation. I met my extended family and cousins that were blonder than I am, but who had ribbon shirts and shot blow darts. I wondered about what drove the artistic traditions I saw and wished I knew how to stomp dance. I read in the Miss Cherokee pageant about the certified degree of Indian blood of each one of the contestants, and thought about my everyday world where the way of peace between cultures seemed to be to gloss over one's background and judge each person by their deeds. But in Oklahoma, one's relatives were so important, and CDIB is a governmental record. When it came time to apply for college, people said, you could probably get some financial aid because of your family. And we nearly applied for my Cherokee Nation registration. But we didn't send in the completed forms. Partly because everyday life was nuts, but also because we knew of the economic struggles in Tahlequah. Because we knew that not everyone there has advantages that I enjoyed. I could pay for my own school, and they might really need the benefit. I've slept well with that decision, but I also always felt I exiled myself trying to fit in to the white South. My white friends have always reassured me that I do fit in, that I pass, that I am enough, but they don't carry the speaking voices from my family that I do. Those voices also listen to the surrounding culture and they judge it. They remind me that I am different, that we believe in identity. We believe in provable facts like genealogy research. We believe in law and self-determination. We believe in educated women. We believe in storytelling. We believe in behaving differently. Just because your friend is doing it, this is not the behavior that we expect of you. That belief in self-determination is something I hear in the blues. Singers in blues lyrics describe having to move on, looking for something better than their current pain. My people suffered a treatment from those in power that some call genocide, but they also made mistakes for the culture, driven by looking for better short-term circumstances. One sibling tricked another out of his land through concerns about taking care of elders during military service. People lied about the degree of Indian blood for short-term reasons, but with long-term consequences for their descendants. My grandfather chose to serve the very same military that repeatedly took the lives, the farms, and the freedom of his people in order to find a way in the larger US population for himself and his family, even though he knew we would lose a lot of our Cherokee culture. The blues as an art form offer all of us a path through suffering by helping us to sit with that suffering. The blues humanize the elders who sing them to us so we can better sympathize with their point of view. The blues offer hope in our future, providing a tune to keep on keeping on. If I am brave and tough, I found that I can re-access that belonging simply by being interested. Rather than a self-imposed exile of survival and pursuing happiness, all it takes is sitting with my heritage rather than running away. Those values I listed, I got those from my family. I just didn't know that they came from Cherokee values until I looked into it. Rather than looking for acceptance by adopting the next new trend of society, I can go back to the books my grandfather collected. I can learn the skills I see in the museums. I can scan our family pictures, interview my relatives, type out their stories, and have the courage to set them in historical context, remembering that I am not them, but I am of them. You can do this too. I highly recommend it. It's terribly satisfying and healing. But one warning if you do, this work is changing me into someone who is even more different than the surrounding culture. And to keep that birthright, I have to be strong enough to always own that. But at least now I know why and from where I do belong. And that makes all the difference. Wado.
So at this time, I'm going to ask those who are on the panel for the express suffering of Native and African American cultures to come and take places up here behind your names. Okay, we have Butch. Let's give them a hand as they come up, you all. Harold, Roy, Helen, and Ben. The express suffering of the Native and African American culture, the soul and spirit of the blues. Now we're gonna, because we started late, we're gonna have to shave a little bit of time off of this. And so now who's gonna start off here? Why don't we start, Butch?
Can we bring up the lights, please?
Bring up the light, okay. Gonna bring up the lights. What we'll do, we'll go in the order that's on the program, in that order. Is that all right, guys? Okay?
Fine.
Okay, the mic's not on.
Oh, okay.
Is it on? This mic, is this mic not on? Is it turned on? Does it have a switch?
Yeah, I turned it on, but it's still like say.
Oh, here, we're gonna go here. This mic right here. While he's getting this mic ready, we're gonna let you go ahead and start.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Butch.
I think first of all,
the whole understanding of who has a right to sing the blues. Throughout the suffering of the slave eras and the things that happened in that respect, also with our people, is that better? With our people, it was a matter of genocide as well. On my reservation, there's probably, I would say, 6 or 7 good blues groups. And I don't mean blues like, yeah, kind of, sort of. I mean the real deal. Really good blues musicians that have been doing it a long time. Never really acknowledged so much as I believe it should have been. But I will say this, there's a movie came out not too long ago, it's called Rumble, that details quite a few, Rumble. Quite a few of our native artists, and probably some of you don't know, there's only been one instrumental ever banned from radio. And the song was called Rumble. It was done by Link Ray, who was Tuscarora, a Cherokee from North Carolina who moved to California. He recorded this song, it played for about 4 or 5 days, and they cut it off because they were afraid that the word rumble back then meant a bunch of guys to get together and fighting, gang. And so they banned it off the radio. So other than Buffy St. Marie, and I'm not sure actually who else in Native culture has been acclaimed. Buffy was the only one that got over. That's because she came from Canada with protest songs. Now more recently, they had the group Indigenous opening up for B.B. King back when. And that was a big deal too, because how many of our people are acknowledged for the blues? And I want to say that because I think it's important that more of our people are acknowledged for our part in the music and in the blues. And it goes from Peter Lafarge, who wrote that song, "As Long as the Grass Will Grow." And I'm sure y'all know that old saying, "As long as the grass will grow and the rivers flow, this is your land forever." Well, they lied. And this is nothing new, I'm sure you know. The same thing like the 40 acres and a mule. They lied. Who are they? Well, I don't want to get too political. I was going to wear a ribbon shirt today to represent my culture, but I figured I would wear this, Colin Kaepernick, to show solidarity. I think it's important that we stick together, acknowledge this art form they call the blues, because it's nothing more than an expression of our suffering and the things that we've had to endure. Even in the Sundance ceremony, they have a song that says, "Wakantanka Oshe Malaye Wanikta Chonle Chomo." It's basically, it's called a suffering song. And what it says, Wanikte means I want to live. And as the Creator, have pity on us. That's why I'm doing this, going 4 days with no food and no water, dancing in the hot sun and piercing. It's a way of expression. Just like the blues is a way of expression. And I think that pretty much.
Yeah, let's give Butch another hand. And I want to say this to you. Those of you who follow the news and follow what's going on in the world of politics, and he's wearing jersey number 7 and Colin Kaepernick. I said to him this morning, I'm saying to you, especially you students, I want to insert this here because there's something going on now in our society. The national anthem, Francis Scott Key, one of the biggest races in history. Yep. Go and look at that third verse. Go and look at that third verse. That itself is enough for you not to stand. I'm gonna just shoot straight from the hip. I do not stand for the national anthem. Now, I have personal reasons for that too, because my father was assassinated, who knew Martin and the walk with Martin Luther King. I'm going to now move to Harold. Harold, you ready, Harold?
Yes, I am, but with the music and the words spoken by Butch, I don't know what to follow up with.
Just follow your
spirit.
spirit.
So one of the things I'm going to say is that Dr. Saunders, which batong sali atia yung mikadugla nana pa etna pa apiso dogo achugma echa anafina kato nana ikan likyakin ni ko asapanang na binin likad nasiyupa, which means translation. We thank Dr. Saunders and the staff for sponsoring this event, and also to the reception last night. You know, I was awed by that means that I was so impressed by the people that were in the band, you know, these musicians that said things like, I heard words like, you know, I played band with B.B. King, and I played the bass for Bobby Bland, just stuff like that, and I was just impressed. I didn't have no words for expression going back to the motel. So I say thank you. And one of the things that that have words have spoken already, and when people make you a promise and take things away, take it back, you know, that's where the term Indian giver came. So these are things that I had heard already: Indian removal, different types of Native American heroes. And suffering is one of the things that that makes you stronger. Like now, you know, there is a lot of oppression, not only in the national arena, but also in the local arena. But to me, when people have to struggle and overcome, you become stronger. And the thing is, you don't enable the enabler. You become strong and do things on your own. And this is what my late mom used to tell me. You know, if you see something wrong, speak up. Even if you're going to be by yourself, speak up. So these are things that, and I saw pictures of some of our Native American heroes, and they recognized because they stood up and fought for their people. And going back to the blues, somebody said something about expression from their heart. That's where it comes from. And the explorers coming to the southeastern tribes 300 years prior to meeting the tribes in the north. That's why we have lost many of our traditional ways. But then on the other hand, we have kept some adapted. And some of the adaptation is that the drum that you see sitting up front, I don't know where it came from, but I know who it belonged to at one time. And I don't know if it was taken away on the battlefield or what, but this is what we use for our stickball game. And to call in meetings of people, if there's going to be a meeting, any kind of event, dances, any kind. But in the morning process, we have a song, and it's called Tabashi Taloa. And the words means going long away, distance away. And then at the end, you mention the person that has died. You can say my wife, my husband, or my child. So it is a sad song. And traditionally, they say our people use only our voice to sing. Then later on, they used, we call it striking sticks. But it's one of those sticks that you can keep the rhythm with. As later on in the day, when Dan and them dance and sing, maybe he will demonstrate how the striking sticks are used. And then in the area of suffering, we have 2 or 3 songs that we call the walk dance. And they say that this was used, we would dance all night long, and on the morning, right before sunrise, you know, everything had to be quiet in honor, respect to our Creator. And this is what we call the walk dance. And our people during on the Trail of Tears, during that 500-mile journey, during the harshest winter ever recorded, some of them didn't have any shoes. When it was too difficult to walk, they said they would sing this song to carry them through. But currently, you know, we have some musicians in our tribe, and maybe Mr. Jim will explain some of the contemporary part of our music. Thank you.
As we listen and we look at the topic, the expressed sufferings of Native and African American culture, the soul and spirit of the blues, a lot of things that happens in our music is for the same common cause. A lot of our culture and spirit is disappearing. And having said that, we're going to now move to Roy. Is that you, Roy?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Roy. Alito. I think pain is forever, but we all can live beyond that. Because pain is a way of teaching that it's part of life, part of everybody's. And blues, I don't know who owns it, but my thinking is that we all have it. We all tend to sing it in our own way. Yeah. Anyway, we all have it. It's permanent. But, you know, we all can move on. I'm glad that I was asked to come here, and I was thinking, what am I going to say? But, you know, my deal is mostly an encourager. So do what you can with your pain that you have. You will always remember things that happened a long time ago, but that's a stepping stone to create a new life. I love blues, I love country, and when the brochures talked about the guitar playing bends, I tried to play blues, and I know now what the pains, you know, go, oh, you know, stuff like that. I was talking to Butch a while ago about the Stormy Monday Blues, the Allman Brothers version. And that's the way I started it. And then when I was a little boy, I picked up on a guy named Charles Brown. Merry Christmas, something. Yeah. And B.B., 1969. And I was probably 12 years old. I'm 66 now. I tried to dye my hair yesterday. I didn't have time. And I listened to all kind of music. When I played in college, I played music by Chicago. I love those. When you joked about reading music, I still have problems with that. You know, Choctaws, we tend to kind of be stiff. You know, we're not this way, but we're learning. And music is a way, you've heard it before, it's a universal language. It is. You know, Native American can play blues, rock, and the white folks do the same thing. Now I hang out at Beale Streets a lot because I want to hear sounds on how to do it. And me, I'm the guy that I learned by looking. Some people can look at things and figure it out, mentally. Anyway, like I said, blues is permanent. I was around when the civil rights movement was in place. It was painful. And, but going back to what I was going to say, I decided to speak from the heart. And that's the only way I listen. I say things that make matters. And Halito means hello in Choctaw. This is a joke, don't be offended about it. You have lived around me 500 years, you can't even say Halito. This is where we come in, we need to respect each other from a cultural standpoint. Nothing culturally is bad, it's just, that's a way of life. And so that's all I have to say.
Okay, let's give him a hand. Sister Helen, may I ask you a question?
Yes.
I like what you're wearing there.
Thank you.
Could you tell me a little something, just about 30 seconds of your ancestry?
My ancestry.
Yes.
Well, my ancestry spans back, and I don't know whether you want me to go back that far or not, but I can take you all the way back to the motherland of Africa.
Okay.
Because this is not my native land by inheritance and ancestry.
Okay.
Mine come from where they spoke of the great creator reached down in the earth and he scooped up my dad.
Okay.
And inside of him was my mother. And I come from the place where time began.
Okay.
And my mother's mother is the mother of all living.
Okay.
These are the stories of my ancestry, where I come from. I come from a people that was stole from their home and brought to this country that they were not natives to. And the blues that my people encountered in the language that the Europeans created for them is simply the moans and the groans on board the ship. Once they left Africa, then they were slaves, Africans now slaves, that traveled on a journey of unknown horror. My people are the people that learned the blues on board the slave ship. For it became the misery and the pain of a people that will continue to endure it. That pain became the lyrics. The sound on the bottom of the ship became the music. How far do you want me to go back?
Okay. What made me, amen, I gotta say amen. What made me ask Sister Helen that question? I guess the Great Spirit. I don't know if that's your presentation or not, but your remaining few seconds you may say. I hope you students are getting some of this. You may say what's on your heart for your remaining few seconds, because you've already said a whole lot. Just all right, go ahead.
I just simply want to say that we are a people that learn the rhythm from our pain. Our song that we sang was the life experience that we were forced into. And we had to take the words, make them our lyrics. We took the moans and the groans and made them our music. And in the cotton fields of the Mississippi Delta, the stroke of the hope became our rhythm. Something that most people are not taught about the rhythm and how the rhythm ties into the soul.
All right.
But you cannot encompass the spirit to be encapsulated into an object or individual. For once it leaves the soul, the man, the spirit is free to go back to the
Wow.
great Creator.
Wow, anybody ready to come down and be saved? Do we have church or what? All right, Sister Helen, thank you so much for that spirit. And we're gonna conclude this portion with Brother Ben. You ready to talk to us, Brother Ben? Come on and feed us, brother.
All right, well,
Hold the microphone closer, because I'm looking back in the back. I want to make sure everybody knows.
can you all hear me now? Yes. All right, well, I've been in the process of moving, so I did a little research, but you know, when you're moving, you forget a lot of things. But one thing that I noticed with both of the elements of both the Native American and the African Americans is that the original form of the music was seen to be something that was energetic, encouraging. The African would dance, and they would go out the wall, and the Indians would dance as they would go out the wall. So they both, when you look at the originality of the music, it both was the winding up type of the music. Now, as the sister was saying, as we look in the country here, they brought the instinct with them, but different things of, as let me speak on the African, that's what I'm more familiar with. First, as they worked, they had to find some way to relieve pressure. You know, because when you're working for somebody, you ain't getting paid, whatever the profit from it's not yours, but yet you got to work. So it you need something to relieve that pressure. So the plow boy, as he would plow the field, as the mule would walk, he would sing his trouble. Maddie, baby, you know, and so my foundation of what I know from the native is from Solomon Northup, where you say in his slavery down in New Orleans, he would often stop by as he traveled down the Red River, and he would stop by some of the tribals, and he was influenced by how they would put energy into their dances, and it was something serious. And so we can see from the American standpoint that both peoples was cheated, and their music shows for us that story within the music. You know, but well, I don't want to go into my program when I'm coming up, but you have to look at, there's one thing of history is one thing, and a composition of that history is another thing. You see, some people sing about things that they never experienced. You see, I sing every once in a while. I worked 5 years for one woman. She had the nerve to put me down, but that ain't never happened to me. And so you have to understand from that type of a standpoint, when somebody is singing a song, that has been like put the icing on the cake. That ain't what's all down in there as far as they are concerned. But the story is what should be inspiring, because there is an artistical label that goes into the songs. And I'm sure that's all the way from the beginning. Now, I was listening as if you all was talking, but I knew I couldn't understand it, but I was trying to feel it, and I could feel the anger of the enthusiasm that you all put into it. I don't speak none of that though. But there is a spirit, that you can kind of follow along. And what? Let me say this, and then I want to say it when I come back. Most times the response that we get as blues singers is people say, well, I don't like the blues, they so sad. Well, most of us get that kind of response. But the thing is, they'll go right and watch a picture with fellas blowing one another's head out. Boom! Oh, they enjoy that. You know? So I think we cheat, at least let me see from the African American standpoint. We cheat ourselves by not really trying to, at least some kind of way, identify with what is being said and why. And I'm sure the same way with the Native American music. We have, both is about suffering. I can imagine, when you own a land and somebody come take it from you, and then put you in a place where you got to stay there, and you can't travel around the land you was before anybody else. That's probably pretty sorrowful. But nevertheless, I can understand how the two has the parallel suffering. One is different from the other, but yet it is suffering. And so when you're expressing that, that's what has been given the title of blues. And now we say that. Well, it's true in the essence of the totality of it. But back in that day, it was a way of life. It wasn't nothing about no blues. It was a way of life. And so when we also title that also, we take away all of the other forms of music that they also compose.
And that might be a good segue into our next segment. Students, I hope you're getting this. The music is more about what's on the sheet, and it's more about what you see on television. It is very, very deep. It has a very, very deep meaning. I want to thank our panel for right now. And we're going to move to much knowledge being here. And we're going to get ready for this demonstration on the evolution of early suffering field hollers toward the blues. Is that correct? Okay, so you all may take your seats. Okay, we have an announcement by the captain.
Hey, Jimmy, if you will, take some of the bass out of it. Okay, thanks. Everybody who's coming in, make sure that you help us by filling out the evaluations, because it helps me with my grant money. And so if I don't have any evaluations, it's hard for me to tell people what went on here. So I need you to at least make the effort to do it. Thank you so much. While Ben Payton is getting set up too, I want to make sure that at some point everybody gets a chance to look at the art, because the artists, I don't know how many artists in the room. If you stand up, maybe they're outside or somewhere. Okay, yeah, Spence is in, Miss Vaughn, Miss Dorothy Vaughn is in. So their art is over, it's an expression of what we are doing today. So make sure you take time to look at it and then talk to the artists, and you'll find out a little bit more in detail what's going on when we get a break. Also, I wanted to make sure that we recognize the fact that tonight it will be an experience that you've never probably had an opportunity to do if you come out to Club Ebony tonight over in Indianola, because we have these musicians that are in the house who are talking now will be expressing themselves in a whole nother way based on the blues. I've got one other person, but she left. Where did Missy go? She had to go. Okay, I'll talk about her in a minute. When she gets back, I don't want to talk about her while she's not in. And also, I want to say that we have tables with things out there for sale. These things are not just for sale, they're actually saving somebody's life. So if you make purchases, most of the money goes back into a pot that we can use it to do something else with. So don't think that you're just buying an item just to buy it. Most of it you can use, because I went to the table and I got this. I'll be wearing this next week. Beautiful set of earrings. Don't say anything about that. But I liked them and I bought them. Yeah. So you got plenty of things out there that's beautiful for people. Anything else I'm missing? No. To say, but in the process, thank you so much for being attentive and helping us with these set changes, because that's kind of difficult when we put on a program like this. Mr. Ben, hey.
Talk just a second, give me a second, please.
Do you know what you're doing?
No.
All right.
I sure don't.
All students here, hold your hand up. Okay. You know, what's important is going on here. We have to pass the torch to somebody in the back. And I don't know if you all have been paying attention to anything else that's already been said, but while he's getting ready, do any one of these students have a question you want to ask? Anyone who's been up here or me about what's going on here? Do you have a perception? Did you learn anything? Okay, I see a hand. Stand up, young lady. I know you gotta talk loud because we don't have a mic right there. If you want to come up here and talk on the mic, you can. It's up to you. Okay, everybody please be quiet so because she doesn't have a mic. Go ahead. Did you read the third verse? It degrades black people. It talks about the stink and the soul, how we foul the land. It talks about slavery. And what I was trying to say to you, that's enough alone for me not to stand. We know about the injustices. I have 2 grandsons who are incarcerated right now behind jumped up charges because the system, they just don't care. They want to close a case, so they'll throw you in jail and throw the kid away, and the courtrooms are just a joke. That, we know what's going on with all the killings, and every time we talk about cop killings, was jump on, what about black and black crime? That's not what I'm talking about right now. I'm talking about how you're getting away with shooting unarmed black men and nothing is being done about it. Then we could talk about black on black crime and the reasons why that's happening. That's enough right there, injustices. But if you just go over and read that third verse of the national anthem that most of you have been standing for, and just tell me what you think about it. But thank you for your input and question, because these are important things. Like I say, you all are young, you know. Most of us over here up front, we mostly are over 70 years old.
Yeah.
I was just kidding. I told y'all how good you look from day one. Did I tell you that? Let me hear from another student. Let's see another hand. Yes, ma'am. Stand up, please, and talk loud. We don't have a mic right there yet. I don't know if we're going to do much time for question and answer. We're going to probably have to have somebody in the audience. Oh, okay, there you go. Okay, yes, ma'am.
How y'all doing? My name is Ashley Adequate. And I wanted to make a perception. Like, I see that Native American people have such a oneness that, like, us as black people should emulate, because it would definitely help us on our path to greatness, you know? And I realized that when one of the panel members was talking about, it sounds weird, all right. When one of the panel members was talking about the shooting and how we don't react to that, but at the same time, the blues, it makes us feel uncomfortable. It makes me realize that we're numb because of all the social media we see, and we always see violence. But when somebody is trying to be real with you and speak, it's uncomfortable, and we need to be okay with that, because this is our culture, and like they said, it's parallel with their culture. And we should actually collab. We should do that.
Thank you very much. I was just talking to Brother Ben about coming from a common problem for the same suppressed reasons. And I'm glad you made that observation about what's really going on with it. But let me just tell you this one thing, and then we're going to turn it over to the musicians. A lot of times in the blues, when jazz musicians got a hold of the blues, after W.C. Handy made it into 12 bars, it became a way of releasing as well. And sometimes I would play in the chitlin circuit. You ever heard of the chitlin circuit? That's where you go to the clubs and they pay just a little bit of money, just enough for you to get by, okay? I don't know if the Ebony Club was considered a chitlin circuit or not. But all of a sudden, then you would hear, yeah! I got your attention then, didn't I? Just because somebody was playing the blues and we could relate to what was going on, because we had so many problems on Saturday night dealing with what happened in the workforce during the week. And then there are those who didn't go to the club, but did the same thing on Sunday mornings. But they were doing it in church. To the same notes, the same blue tonality. So it's kind of two ways of looking at that whole thing. All right, so we ready to roll?
We ready.
Okay.
Thank you all for your patience. What we are going to do is we are going to try to show for us the composition side of the suffering song. We're going to take a song that is one of the most sorrowful things that can happen to a person, period. And that is when you're married, like back in slavery times, thereafter, and the old straw boss come along and tell you to go out and cut some wood or go up to the barn, and then he go in there and lay with your wife. And so this is a song about a situation like that. We're going to show you how, first of all, the song is composed in its state back in the times when they was plowing mules. That's where most of the field hollows come from, was the plowing of mules. And so we're going to slow it down just a little bit. We did a little faster, but we'll do it about somewhere like this, Ben. Now just imagine that's the sound of the mule walking in the field. And he had chain that was on what they call his britches that would go. And then he would get to thinking about what done happened to him, how the white man took his wife and laid with her. Then he'll sing it out in the field as he goes. People are talking about the dangerous blues. Whoa, Sam, get up high. Hey, now, whoa. If I had me a pistol, I'll be dangerous too. Whoa, Pete, get up now, high. Get up now, hey. Now you may be a bully, but that I don't know. Whoa, whoa, whoa! But I know that I fixed you, so you won't bother me no more. Then Muddy Waters came along and took it to the Delta. People's talking, child, about the danger blues. Talking, child, about the danger blues. If I had me a pistol, boy, sure would be dangerous too. Now you may be a bully, let me tell you, I don't know. You may be a bully, child, let me tell you, I don't know. But I know that I will fix you so you sure won't bother me no more. Now we're going to take you over to Africa. We're going to take you over to the Ganawa peoples, the ancient Ganawa music. Yes, they is. Yes, they is. People are talking about the danger. Yes, they is. Yes, they is. If I had a pistol, I'd be dangerous. 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 Better believe that your world will fix you, you won't bother me no more. Better believe I sure will fix you, you won't bother me no more. You better believe that I sure will fix you, you won't bother me no more. You better believe that I sure will fix you, you won't bother me. Now we're gonna take that same song and we're going to New York Blues. People's talking about the danger blues. I say people's talking, man, they talking about the danger blues. If I had me a pistol, I'll sure be dangerous too. Maddie had a baby, that baby had blue eyes. I say Maddie had a baby, that baby had blue eyes. It had to be the captain, he been hanging around. We're going into the gospel, y'all. If you got a problem, take it to the Lord. Say if you got a problem, take it to the Lord. Say if you got a problem, take it to the Lord. You will find He sure will fix it. He will fix it. He sure will fix it. He will bring you out. Just turn it to Jesus. He sure will fix it for you. He sure will fix it. He will fix it for you. He will fix it for you. Oh no.
Let's give Brother Ben a hand. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. We're going to now move right into the plantations and reservations. I'd like for those panelists to come up. William Dan Swift, Eagle Isaac, Comba G. Comba. Okay. Ricky Burkhead and Dr. C. Shade. What? Shade what? Turnip seed. Shade. Oh, so there's some programs on the way? Printed programs on the way. Oh, yeah, printed programs. How's everybody doing? How's everybody holding up? Okay. So what we're going to do is we did with the last panel, and as I observe the panelists, the amount of time that they are talking to you is about really what we really need to keep this moving and rolling like in a timely manner. Because I said last night, reading some of these resumes and bios, one person alone would take up the whole conference, but we just don't simply have time. And somebody mentioned to me on the last panel, they didn't quite get in all they wanted to get in. I said, well, you can't get everything in. Just kind of highlight what the needs are. So we're going to go right down the list, and William Dan Swift Eagle Isaac?
Yes.
Where'd you get that name from? Swift Eagle, what does that mean?
It means, in my language we say, onse changle. I had got this name from some friends I have up north in North Dakota. And they gave me that name, so I carry it on with pride.
All right, okay. All right, so we're going to turn it over to you, and then we're going to make sure the mic, you're doing just right. Make sure the mic, we want everybody to hear what you got to say. You can take it away.
Testing 1 2, testing 1 2. All right, back there, I think you've been hearing this word all day, so I want everybody to say it nice and loud and clear. Halito. Halito. A little bit better. One more time. Halito. Halito. Just like that. Halito. Halito. All right, I got another word for you that I learned. It's shalafiani. Everybody say shalafiani. Shalafiani. All right, and that was a friend of mine from Africa taught me that word. So you just said hello to me in African and in Choctaw. So I'm proud of both. Everybody give yourself a round of applause. All right. As we do, Native Americans, we like to speak from our heart. And today, now that I have the floor, I'm going to speak from my heart about what I've seen today. I've learned a lot. I've seen a lot. One of the things I'm going to tell you is, as a real man, I'm going to tell you, I love everyone. Red, yellow, black, and white. Everybody is equal in the sight of our Creator. And so, let's give Creator a round of applause. Acknowledge Him. And traditionally, as I always start, I'm going to speak in my language. Yakoge alaliga pa sanayuk pa sachfo. Dan, William Dan, Swift Eagle, Isaac, Moxia, alaliga sanayuk pa. In translation, glad to be here with all my relatives. My name is William Dan Swift Eagle. I say greetings to all the people here, what we call Turtle Island. All Native people know that this is Turtle Island. Creator gave us Turtle Island, but did not say it belongs to just all of us. We knew without traveling or sailing to any other continent, we had a white brother, a black brother, a yellow brother, and we are the red. And so the red, yellow, black, and white is a symbol of what we call our medicine wheel. They're all equal. One is not bigger or greater. We're all the same. One of the things that our elders have taught us, if you're in a boat, doesn't matter if you're in the front or the back, you just got to stay afloat. Can I get an amen on that? All right. I love to communicate. One of the things that I love to do is I want to learn to speak the language of the day. So I always try to do whatever I can to learn something new every day, how to reach someone, how to talk to people, and let them understand where I'm coming from. The blues is an expression. One of the things that I always start off with is we all have a spirit. Everyone here has a spirit put in them by the Great Spirit. And so everyone here is sacred. And I say we have to take care of our spirit. And one of the things that I love to do is teach people how to give yourself spirit food. And that is expression. One of the ways is expression. You can sing, you can dance, you can laugh, you can cry. When you do all of those things, you're feeding your spirit. And this is what I try to do every day. I try to talk to someone. When I see somebody low in spirit, I smile at them, or give them a wave, or shake their hand, pat them on the back. Also the gift of touch. When you touch each other in a positive way, in a good way, you're feeding your spirit. So I come to you today to talk about the spirit in expression. When you express yourself, you're helping yourself, you're giving yourself medicine. And music, as they said, is the universal language. Music is medicine. The dances, all that we do in native country is medicine for us as well as all of humanity, the 4 colors that I talked about. And so when I hear blues music, I can relax. I know about the suffering songs. I know all about celebration. In our way is celebrating. But you never forget where you come from. You never forget who you are. When we sing for the people at the present time, but at the same time, in a spirit way, we sing for the people that were here before us. And we also sing for the people that are not yet born. I'm singing for your grandkids, your 7 generations ahead of us, 7 generations behind us, and today. There's so many things that I could get into. The stomp dance is one of the things that we're going to be showcasing when we do our dances. I really believe that, as they were saying that they were traveling along the Red River, I think he said, all over Indian country there were stomp dances going on. That is our spiritual way. We don't call it religion. Religion is man-made. We call it spiritual because that is God-made. It's a gift from God. So when we do our spiritual dances, the stomp dances, you will hear the call and response pattern, which today is still going on in all forms of music and language. So I always say the Choctaws, we're proud that we are first in so many things, and the stomp dances is probably the beginning of all different types of music on Turtle Island. And with that, I also want to say the Choctaws were the first one in World War I as code talkers. A lot of people know about World War II with the Navajo tribe, but we were the original code talkers. And we were also the original ones first to go on the Trail of Tears. So with that, I'm going to close to just tell everyone that we are here and we're not going nowhere. This is home. And I can say the Choctaws or Native people are the only ones that can really say, welcome. And I always do that when I meet someone from another country or different culture. I say, welcome home. This is your home. I'm here to share it. Yakoke, thank you.
Thank you for that. I just have one quick question and I want a quick response, okay? Okay. The topic, influence of the ring shout and drums in the development of the modern American music. When we witness what you're going to do, will it in any way be reflective of what we know as the ring shout? And that, that's a yes or no answer, really.
Yes.
Okay, that's all I want to know. Okay. Okay, we're gonna move on to the next person, Brother Kumba. My friend from Ghana?
Senegal.
Oh, Senegal. I'm sorry. How quickly I forget. But we talked about that. Let's give Brother Kumba a hand. And I love that hat. I'm not going to ask you to go. Brother Kumba, go ahead and talk to us for a few seconds, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. My name is Gelel Kumba. I'm from West Africa, from the Fulani tribe, which are the cow people. I'm very happy to be here and to celebrate this great man with all of you. Sorry, sometimes my English is not that good because I used to speak French. Even I'm here for a little while, but I still, didn't really masterize the English language. So I'll say first in my Fulani language, Misalminion Gotfof Indemum Yetodemum. I say, translating that, I say hi to everybody with your name and your last name. Hello, how are you everybody? With your name and your last name. So, I am one of your cousin, 500 years ago, and I came here just by curiosity. I used to say that and people used to laugh about it, just to see what became my cousin. They changed, they're still the same. And I found out 500 years after, my cousins still the same. They are still African and very proud of their Africanity. And I see when I came first here a lot of similarities which really didn't surprise me in a lot of ways. The way of eating, the way of dancing, the way of singing, the way of thinking. African American are just like real African. And what is very, very important to what I saw is paradoxically, it's in America than the African mix. Like, you never think about a West African getting married with Central African. It happened for the first time here in America, and that's very important. That means the marriage between the savanna and the forest. That means the marriage between the sound of the savanna, who is more, bluesy, like blues, and the music who is more rhythmic from the Congo. And all of these never happened in Africa before the slavery, before the colonization. It happened here in America. And I can say the first step of the Pan-Africanism start here in America. Ring, as we were saying. The African, as like a French philosopher named René Descartes said, I think, therefore I am. African we say, I dance, therefore I am. And the rhythm, the dancing put us, or reconciliate us with the earth. And that's what I saw here, and that's how also the African American survive culturally. Because I used always to say that the African American didn't come here as empty shell. They came here with all their personality, with all their integrity, with all their cultural strength, and they conserve it through the lot of opposition of that. Try always, to put them down, but they always stand up, fight, and still who they were since then to today. And we say, there is an expression when we do that dance, like a ring dance, each other takes the hand of the other, and we turn around and jump, and the song say, call one name and say, jump like a deer and come down like a chameleon. The chameleon is that animal who express the prudence, who express the wiseness, because always walking slow but making sure of any step he takes, using his care as something, you know, always can.
You're gonna have to speak a little bit louder. But let me ask you a question before you move on. And you mentioned the ring. The bottom line significance of that ring would be what in your eyes?
The bottom line for this ring is just the coming back and forth, the influence, the Africanity in here and the Africanity there, you know, coming back and far.
Okay.
Inter-influencing, because the same way the Africanity you find in the African American community have a lot of influence in Africa. Like the diaspora, African diaspora have a big influence in Africa.
And the ring dance was throughout the diaspora of the motherland, a common thing that was happening. I'm not sure it would have the same meaning, but because of time, we're going to have to move on. Thank you for give him a hand. Brother Richie Burkhead with that cap on, I know he's going to keep with that ring shout tradition. Is that right, Brother Burke? You're going to talk about that ring. Okay, let's move right along with the ring shout.
Okay, I'm going to talk about how the ring shout came about. As he mentioned, when Africans came to America, they faced opposition. And all Africans that came to America practiced some form of African religion. They were resistant to the American religion, which was Christianity. But as more Africans were being born, they began to soften that resistance to that. Around 1750, Baptist and Methodist ministers were traveling in the South and up the East Coast to New England, and they were preaching about Jesus Christ. So Africans at that time began to listen to that message because, number one, these guys were preaching equality, and they were preaching that no longer were blacks to see themselves or Africans to see themselves as not fully human, or the fractions that their white slave owners had put on them, saying 3/5 of a man, but now they had brotherhood. So they were preaching Christian brotherhood. They had meaning. All of a sudden, their hands had meaning. The body had meaning. They had a new purpose in life. It was like a rebirth for them. So through that, they began to have their own meetings, and they would meet in these praise houses because they still couldn't worship with their white brothers. There was still some stipulations, whereas, you know, we'll convert you, but you got to have your own thing happening. And there was also something happening with the songs, like we all know the Dr. Watts that we like to sing, right? Well, he wasn't a black man, he was a white Englishman with curly hair. He wrote hymns. The whites didn't like the blacks come in and changing the way the hymns were to be sung because they sang them in the way that they were accustomed to. And so when they had their own services in the praise houses, or if they had services in what they call a church, when they had these services, they began to do these ring shout dances, and it was a new expression of freedom. Like Khalil talked about the chameleon. All of a sudden they found their identity. So in this freedom, they would shuffle their feet, and they would move around in a circle, mostly counterclockwise, and they would express themselves. And from this, we had a lot of things that come out of, like tuning, like preachers preach today, but for sure, the ring shout. And most of the time today, you look at like Pentecostal churches, and you hear musicians talk about playing the shout beat. It was born out of that. And so when we get to it, after my sister talked about it, you'll see how that the shout dance and the rhythm derived from what our people did at that time.
Thank you very much. But let me just ask you one question about that ring shout and you know, where it came from. It was all over Africa. Do you see common denominator? And if I'm getting into your subject, you shut me down and say check. All right? Do you see a common denominator, because it was happening all over Africa? Do you see that anywhere?
Oh
Yes.
What would that be?
Yes, like Liz from Senegal, and he expressed to us and showed us a form of dance that he talked about that happens in Senegal that's very similar to what we're going to see in the video that's we do here in America.
All right. Sister, I can't say Sade. Is it Sade? I just like that name. Would you feed us? Let's give Sister Sade a round of applause, y'all, with that bead necklace on. I'm not sure it has a meaning. From Mali. And that's the sort of Dogon tribe? In Mali? Dogon Nation? Okay. Okay, so is this mic working? I know it a minute ago it was not. So you know what I'm going to do? Okay. All right, just take it away. Take it away. It's your show.
Greetings. I love what has been spoken already. So what I'm going to do is change up just a little bit because I'm going to give you more of a definition of, you know, the technical definition of what ring shout is and how it's performed. But to tie into my brother, my Native American brother, my part of my ancestry, you know, I do, and I think most African Americans can readily identify their Native American heritage. And I'm a part of the Choctaw Nation as well. And one of the beautiful things about that heritage and a lot of the messaging that comes through in their dance and in their song and their proverbs is one that I want to try to interconnect with the subject here at hand and the Africanness of their message as well. And it's one that I need all of you to participate, you know, the call and the response thing, okay? So it's why we dance. And for us, the subject today, why we shout, okay? So, this is how it works. And I want you to follow me. Call and response, right? Everybody do this, especially my students. Why we dance, or in this case, why we shout. We dance, to heal. We heal, to give. We give, to live. We live, to dance. Isn't that beautiful? Yeah. I love that. And so again, with the ring shout and its messaging, it's about worshiping the spirit of who we are and who we be. This is part of my gullah-ness that's coming out now, that gullah geechee thing. And that's where you see ring shout still being practiced on a daily basis in those praise houses, and how they perform is not a performance, it's a worship. It's who we be. And so we be practicing this ring shout in a way that is, again, very rooted in our spirituality. And it's very individual, that connection to our God for us. So when we are feeling a certain kind of way, we then move a certain kind of way in this counterclockwise position, and it's so individual, and it's really clear that it's not a dance, it's a shout. And that movement is articulated in a way that, again, connects with the higher power. And so we move to this rhythm, right? And it's this beat that gets to your spirit and to your bones, and you just have to move with it. We're gonna play a tape in just a second, and it's a brief tape, it's just 3 minutes, but I want you to see it in practice, because in it, there are individuals who are, again, not performing. It's always a community worship, a community prayer, a community singing and shouting, rather, to our higher power, to connect with us and to be with us. That's where that whole song that came, you know it well, Kumbaya, come by here, Lord. That too is a Gullah Geechee message to the ancestors to say, stay with us. And so they shout in their movement, and that movement is saying the same thing, Kumbaya, Kumbaya here. be with us, God. Stay with us, God. So we're going to just play a quick...
Before we do that too, just a quick question. The shuffling of the feet, is there any significance if somebody trips or crosses the foot while they're doing their dance?
They don't cross the feet. It's very intentional not to cross the feet because they don't want it to appear as a secular kind of a dance. Again, it's intentional, and as you will see, it's a slow, real close to the ground movement of the feet, and it's again keeping with the rhythm, and it's intentional and do not cross.
But if they happen to accidentally cross, did something happen? Are they excommunicated?
Yeah, they are.
Okay, I just want. Okay, I want to bring that out. Okay, Brother Terrell, please.
So just to clarify, that is more of a plantation thing going on there. The ring shout is much more stricter with, again, not crossing of the feet. We did see a little bit of that, but that was, again, a variation of it, but you still got the idea. One of the things that is always standard, though, that unfortunately, too, wasn't in there, was the stick. You know, it's like a 3 to 4 foot stick that is pounding, that keeps the rhythm. And you know, and that keeps everybody on point like this. And then there's clappers. The clappers would, come on, y'all can clap, and go along with that beat. And then there would be the people who would shout and the people who would say some words, much along the lines of what we just saw.
And just a quick question. I thought I observed first the circle coming this way in a Well, it seemed like the first one was clockwise. Then at the end, they went counterclockwise. I'm just wondering, and anybody can answer this on the panel, was there a significance to that movement, going counterclockwise at the end and then clockwise, seemingly at the beginning? I don't know.
Yeah, there is a significance to the counterclockwise. Again, that's...
Well, okay, would you tell us on the microphone?
Yeah, no. Again, it's about just pulling together, and I'm really not clear on how and why it was counterclockwise, but it is a deliberate counterclockwise motion that always happens. And I don't know, maybe someone else knows exactly the reasons why it's counterclockwise?
Yeah, our traditional native direction, we call it the direction of nature. Just like a hurricane goes counterclockwise, tornado, they say the rattlesnake, when it coils up, is counterclockwise. A lot of the secular dances can be done clockwise, but when you do something which is very serious or very sacred, you always move in nature's direction, counterclockwise.
I never knew that. I'm glad you brought that out.
Yeah.
Do we have any ring shouters in the audience by any chance? Anybody? And I used to do work, research on the Sanctified Church, the difference between the South and the North. Anybody in here a part of a church that does the ring shout now, today? Or what y'all doing on Sundays? Eating Cheerios? All right. Well.
But it is true.
Okay, so I want to give the panel a hand. This is knowledge that we're learning. I never thought about that. And then just one thing that you said that I'm agreeing with, in the words of the great scholar John Henry Clark, religion is nothing but commercialized spirituality. It's about the spirituality, because our ancestors, they lived spiritual lives every day. They did not need religion to define who we are. It was about the spiritual nature. And then we developed all of these religions for commercial reasons and money reasons. And I'm not going to even get into all that. Let's give the panel a hand, you all. Now we're going to move into the mystic winds of the Mississippi Band of Choctaw Indians. Here's Doc.
Thank you one more time. Oh, Galil, you want to do the song?
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't get a chance to do a song? Why don't you do it?
And with call and response, it's very easy. It's a yellow, yellow, yellow. That's like the response, I think. A yellow, yellow, yellow. A yellow, yellow, yellow. A yellow, yellow, yellow. Yellow demangaido. Gaido gido bilo boli. Bilo warana mangari. Dari di sinkayodi. Tugu de gale baila. Haye bi gale sise. Yellow, yellow, yellow. Yellow demangaido. Gairo giro bilo boli.
Thank you. I got, well, Timela and Carol in the house. They're here. They're here representing Balls Betty Thompson. I don't know. Is he here?
No, sir.
Okay. Well, I just want to recognize y'all. I see y'all sneaking in over there.
Thank you.
Will you tell Benny to send us some money for his next symposium? No, it's good. I just came up because Dan, you're going to bring your group up. Because we're talking about the spirit of the dance itself and how it actually is a part of just human nature. I often think about it in terms of when you wake up in the morning, you just stretch. You know, your body wants to do something. It's just, after laying still all night, you just raise your hands and you stretch it just for reasons. And I found a little bit out about the drum, so maybe Dan will talk about it a little bit. But such a fascinating thing for me to meet Dan Swift Eagle, and I've never met a stranger yet, so I'm hoping I never do. And they're gonna do the demonstration. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm stopping your work right here. While we're doing it, I got a dear friend, talk about meeting people. We met, 11 years ago. My dear friend from Boston, and I still don't understand when he speaks because he still sounds Irish, Patrick Hennigan. And while she's putting the things out, I'm gonna do one more thing. I was on a plane to Oregon to Portland this past weekend to play with some great musicians, and some of them in the house. I don't know where some of them. We were doing some kind of tribute music, and the guys are, part of the B.B. King lineage, and there are many of us. It's not just a few of us. We all talk about that. We all want to be famous and have the money B.B. made, but we don't have it yet. But we still get a chance to keep this music alive, which is good. But I was sitting across from somebody that I asked him, I told him about the symposium, and she was studying about suffering. And I told her what my title was, and we just kind of hit it off, had some conversations. But Missy, will you raise your hand back there? I didn't believe you were coming. Then she brought her man with her, so that's another thing. What is his name? Ron, okay, so here we go, Dan.
All right, thank you, Doc. All right, we're going to talk about the stomp dance. But first, before I do, I want to talk about the drum, because that's something that is central and is always in the middle. Ryan, can you pick up that drum and play it for them? I want them to feel what we talked about, spirit and soul. I want Ryan to do the beat that we play for our stickball game, and I want him to hit it hard because I want people to feel it. Go ahead. Thank you. Give him a round of applause. We all have a drum within us. It is called our heart, and it beats constantly. We all have that. And the drum is the center of all that we do. Again, it is what we call a sacred instrument given to all races of people. No matter where you go, you will find a drum. Even in Europe, Africa, China, and here at Turtle Island. We know what we call it is our direct contact with the Great Spirit. When we play this drum, we talk, we communicate with the Great Spirit. And so we're gonna put it there in the middle, and we're gonna go back to talking about the stomp dance. But we always want to respect that drum and teach about it because it is a healing tool, instrument given to us and to all people, and we have to share it. We call it the original teachings. We kept our original teachings, and we want people to know, even in Europe or anywhere else, go back to your original teachings and you'll find that drum and you'll find who you are. And you won't need anything that's man-made, anything that's not real. All right, stomp dance is our spiritual dance. It goes boy, girl, because we know we're all equal, male and female. The male always goes first, and people often ask us, why don't you let the women go first? And back in the day, or even today, the men have to lead because they were created first, and they're the protectors of the women. So we always lead with the men. Again, the format is the call and response, and we're going to go ahead and start our stomp dance. Just know this is something that we don't always do in public, but we know that we want to teach and share. So we don't do this as, I think one of the panelists said, it's not a performance, it's a ceremony. It's communicating, it's a spiritual thing. Ooh.
You, you,
Give them a round of applause for Mystic Wind. Sometimes people ask us about why it's kind of slow, and so I'm always wanting to explain that in our way of dance, we have to be gentle on Mother Earth. We have to be humble. We always say Native Americans were green before everyone else. We conserve everything. Our dance grounds and all that we did, we never cut anything or killed anything. If we wanted to build a fire, we take the dead wood that already were on the ground. We never killed or cut anything for our purposes because it was all sacred. And along with that were the animals. We're going to do one more dance, which is a social dance. It's called Stealing Partners. What we call it is a coming of age dance. In our way, it was very intricate. You could say, because it was a coming of age, this is how young people met in the old days. There's two parts to this. The first part is the stealing partner, and at the end is the second part is called a joyful jump dance. When everybody gets a partner, then we all have a joyful jump dance to finish it off. We're going to put the drum to the side because this one is a secular dance, more of a social, not a spiritual dance. And all dances were performed around a fire. The fire, what we call, was the eye of Creator. Everything we did was either under the sun in the daytime or around the fire at night, because we never hid from our Creator. Everything we did was out in the open. And even with this stealing partner, young people would go and steal a partner that they're interested in. This is how they dated back in the day. We're going to go ahead and start our stealing partner. Yo hale, 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 tosh pa. Yo love it, Yohane, Yohane, oh, hey, Yohane, 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 Wahea, Hotana, hey, hey, we Yotana, hey, ya, hey, oh, he, oh, Yotana, hey, hey, Wahea, Yotana, hey, we Yotana, hey, oh, he, oh, Yotana, hey, Wahea, Yotana, hey, we Yotana, hey, oh, he, oh, Yotana, hey, Wahea, Yotana, hey, we Yotana, hey, oh, he, oh, Yotana, hey, Wahea, Yotana, hey, he-yo, anahe, he-yo, anahe, he-yo, anahe, he-yo, anahe, he-yo, anahe. Everybody sing, he-yo, anahe, he-yo, anahe, he-yo, anahe, he-yo, anahe, he-yo, anahe, oh, he-yo, anahe, oh, he-yo, anahe, oh, he-yo, anahe, he-yo, anahe, oh, he-yo, anahe, oh, he-yo, anahe, he-yo, anahe, Yahoo! Yo, all right, give them a round of applause. Thank you, Mystic Wind. All right, just a few words before we close this. We want to thank you, Dr. Sanders, the staff. We're Mystic Wind. We thank you. Give them a round of applause. My friend Britton here, he went up there. If y'all refused him, y'all have to give him $10 each. Yeah, maybe 20 now. Anytime a warrior comes to you, you cannot refuse, or you must pay him monetary. We thank you again, Yakoke. Thank you.